Greetings, Questers. It's been a little while since I've given an actual full dev update, though I continue to work on Questline constantly. I just wanted to quickly go over some of the features that I've added since 6.0 came out, which includes quite a bit, game types and the like. But one of the things I'd like to bring up is I've started a new Patreon page that's mostly there just so that I can communicate the changes a little better, talk about some of the things that I'm working on, some of the reasons for things that I do. Maybe it's a little insightful for you. So if you haven't done that, I would love it if you'd come join the Patreon page. You can find it right inside of the changelog here, and just click on this link and it'll take you there and you can follow, and you'll see as I start to go through, I'll start trying to do a more weekly update of different things, of things I'm working on, of things that are in the pipeline, and you know, conversations I've had with users and things along those lines. And as you can see, I've actually had quite a number of updates since 6.0 came out. And some of the biggest things that you can note are some of the support for new game types. Stone Burner by Fari Games, which is brand new to 6.08. Then it also includes some support for Lost Omens, which is a work in progress by Jaden King. War Stories by Firelock Games. Cyberpunk Red by Talsorian Games. And quite a few updates that include a lot of battle map changes. And just overall quality of life and improvement has been kind of my focus on these sets of updates, as I try to get to a much more rich game type editor, and eventually into a dice bag editor, so that'll let you kind of modify the dice mechanics and things like that, so following the same pattern that I already have. Now let's talk about what this last set of updates was. 6.08 came with a couple of really nice features. One of them is now you can use Control C and Control V to copy and paste, or Command C and Command V on a Mac. And you can use that to copy tokens. And so now I can just hit Control C and Control V and it will paste me a new token. And this will make it a lot easier for people to be able to create multiple tokens very quickly. And I can just keep hitting Control V and it will just arrange them around there. I've also added multi-selection, which is great if you want to delete multiple tokens. And you'll notice one of the small things that I've added recently is I've been adding a bunch more token frames. And you'll see, I'll go through some of the new ones that we've done, but this little change that I've made, which is this new hover effect. And I'm going to be adding these to every frame so that as you hover over, it'll kind of give you a view of what it's going to look like. Or not what it's going to look like, but just some sort of effect to show you that you can select it. Makes it a little nice feature, and it works currently on all the frames. You can do that, and it will give you little updates. And you'll probably notice that I've also added in this new pip kind of health system, and you'll be able to see that the pips actually work straight on character sheets. And I can, you know, subtract hit points that way. I can do it this way. It's much simpler for games that don't actually have high hit point values. Games that typically have, you know, 5, 10, maybe even 15 health, it's easier to track sometimes. But this also includes other games like Mythcraft, who use like action points and other systems of similar nature. So you can manage that pretty quickly. I've also added in, specifically for Stone Burner, but dice bags can now have this new feature called Individual, which allows us to set up things like these kind of tables, which use actually what's Fari Games uses for Stone Burner, which is called a D66. And so I can set up this table where I roll 2d6, and it will actually allow me to do 11 through 16, 21 through 26, and you can set these tables up. And quite literally, you just click roll, you roll it, and it'll spit it out, and it'll give you the results. And you can also go look, and you can take a specific. This is going to be 31, so MIR. So you can do this quickly. One of the features I'm planning on adding very soon is the ability to copy and paste actions from the action prefab system. So that you can very easily, you know, create a whole list of actions for a game type and then be able to paste it into another game of similar type. So you can, you know, have multiple games going, and it make it a lot easier to manage your actions. And then I've done a lot with the battle maps in terms of not only being able to copy and paste characters, but you can actually copy and paste objects on the page. So I can quite literally come over, click my Control V text, hit Control C and Control V, it'll paste it. And now I don't have to go back into the text area here. Just with this selected, it will overwrite whatever I'm typing, and it'll keep the same formatting options. So if I wanted a different one, maybe I'll zoom out here, copy this, and I can keep this, and I'll just rename it. And so it makes it a lot easier to manage some of the text that's on your games. Very easy to use. People can also very quickly just use the add text option and click, and much easier be able to continue that. I believe the way I set this up is that it will copy whatever the last text is that you had. It'll remember that. So if you use this one and you create a new one, it will keep the same format as well. The same thing goes for points of interest. You can copy and paste them. In fact, you can copy and paste any object in the system in terms of what's on the battle map if you're using multiple images. So you can quite quickly use your asset gallery to take an image, place it on your map, and I could, you know, maybe I'll just resize this a tiny bit. I could have an icon here, but then I could copy and paste that, so I can have multiple images. This makes it easier for you to copy and paste images, and I'm going to continue improving this overall usability and quality of life so that this becomes much simpler to use. I'm going through a process of completely overhauling the map settings. So the grid options is going to be a brand new option down here, and you'll be able to manage that. It's a very easy to use drag and resize the grid, so you don't have to do any manual stuff. And I'm going to continue doing that with all of these pieces to improve the whole quality of life with editing the map. One of the other things I've done a lot recently is to include an easier way to drag and drop images onto maps. You can actually drag images directly from another web page. You can just drop them in that way. You can upload your files normally. And I've done a fair bit of passing over for bugs in relation to dragging images onto here. And that also includes, you can now drag text. So I can come over here and I can take this text and I can drag it onto the map, and it will actually create a text object for me. And I can then modify it and do what I need to. And that makes it a little easier to kind of get things on your battle map in a much faster way. And to include with some of the other map changes I've made, you can now multi-select, like I said, but you can also multi-drag. And this is actually a big improvement over the previous system where you could only drag one at a time. And this is something that has been in the pipeline for a long time, and I just apologize for taking so long to get to it. But now you can multi-drag tokens, and it makes it a lot easier to manage all the tokens on your map. And another item is the token images. The frame styles. There are now quite a few more frame styles that I've added. Having a phenomenal artist be able to render some of these new frames has been great. But there's this dwarven one, there's a cyberpunk, and there's a new frame for Warhammer, and a new frame for which is called Eldritch Horror. And so you can kind of mix and match all these with the different effects, and it makes it a lot more fun to customize your characters. Yeah, and just general overall UI improvements across the board, and we'll continue to do so. I think that kind of covers the bulk of the changes that I've made, and I know it's a lot, and feel free to check through the patch notes, and you can see a lot more details. And I'm going to continue going down this path with what's coming up in the pipeline is, like I said, some of the grid changes to improve that functionality, but I will be moving on to adding a new system for creating new games, so that it's a lot easier to read, as well as hopefully getting to the asset store pretty soon. But I think I'll leave you with that, and thanks for stopping by, and keep questing.